For the months of May and June, we'll be giving away 50,000 IOST tokens along with 3 Ledger Nanos, 2 of them sponsored by Nimic, and 1 special edition Ledger Nano with an on-the-go kit. Winners announced July 1st. To enter, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment on every video in May and June for your maximum number of entries. Yo, Bit Squad, I'm back. I know you guys miss me, 100%. No question about it. I know all you guys have been thinking about is, where's BitBoy? Well, last couple of days, I wasn't feeling too good. Earlier in the week, I was at Consensus, or at least in New York City. Missed a lot of great video material on the huge Bitcoin pump, and I get to make a video the day that it dumps. I know you guys are super excited, but we got a lot of interesting news. Today's gonna be a jam-packed video for you guys. We're gonna be looking at Bakkt. We're gonna be looking at how that relates to IOST, specifically in during our IOST break segment. We're gonna be looking at presidential candidate Andrew Yang giving some guidance to those who are to guide us with regulations. Also gonna be looking at altcoin season still around the corner. We did have what I would consider a mini alt pump here recently. And more importantly, we're gonna be looking at why Bitcoin went down and why you probably should not be worried. So let's go ahead and jump right into the markets. Market Watch. So if I were to draw a line from 2 weeks ago, the point where Bitcoin was at, to the price it is at now, the price point, it would be very encouraging. We're up a considerable amount. However, we did top over 8,000, about 8,200, and then we came crashing back down. And why did that happen? Well, we're gonna be looking at that at the end of the video, but I'm not moved at all by this. This dump does not affect my bullishness on, exactly where the market is heading. And honestly, if you're new to crypto, you don't really understand this, but even during those parabolic bull runs, even during the biggest bullish moves, you still have pullbacks. That's why buying the dip became a popular phrase. And recently we've called every single price drop a dip, but truthfully, that's not really what it implies. It implies that when the price drops drastically on a run, you better catch some before it runs again, because it's gonna run again. So market cap coming in at $227 billion, unbelievable where we're at. Moving back up way in the 200s right now. It took us forever to get back to 200. Bitcoin dominance is falling at 56.1%. So guys, I've been telling you, once Bitcoin dominance hits a point, it starts to fall. As Bitcoin dominance fell over the last couple of days, excluding today and yesterday, that's the last couple of days, BitBoy, dummy. If we were to go back earlier in the week, Bitcoin dominance was falling because the money was moving into the altcoin. So we're gonna talk more about that and the trickle down market that is cryptocurrency in another story here. But we have Bitcoin coming in at 71.90. It did drop as low as 6,800 on some exchanges. Ethereum, down 10% today. A lot of red today, but not really concerned. Biggest winners, we do have a few winners. ArcBlock, Solve, Crypto.com, BitTorrent having a nice little run today, and HoloChain. Biggest losers of the day. And you know what? A 16% loss as the biggest loss of a dump like this, it's not really that bad. Like, you guys don't even understand if you're new to crypto, which I hope we're going to be getting more new people to the channel. But back in March or May of last year, June, I mean, we would have like days that stuff was down 50%. So 16% after a big pump isn't really that drastic in my opinion. And if you look here at sentiment, which is the one that dumped, I mean, you still look at the point where it is right now. And if you were to draw a line before the pump down here, it's still above where the run started. So it's kind of like the old classic, you take 3 steps forward and 2 steps back. Like, you're moving forward, but you definitely have some pullbacks on the way. So the market is no different. Number 5. All right, coming in here at number 5, we have presidential candidate Andrew Yang states crypto framework in the US is unclear and unfair. As you guys know, the Token Taxonomy Act has been revived, so that's definitely good stuff. Hopefully that will come through. But I thought it was very interesting what he said. Now, he's running on this. This is part of his platform. The only part of his platform probably that I could support 100%. But I have literally decided that I am going to change my political allegiance temporarily to Democrat in the United States in order to vote for Andrew Yang in the primaries. I've told you guys before, probably won't vote for him past that, but it would be cool to play a role in helping a crypto candidate at least get a platform, because I don't think he's going to win. I think it's almost 0% chance he's going to win the nomination. There's a lot of heavy hitters. It's real sloppy over there, but there's a lot of heavy hitters involved on the Democratic side right now. I mean, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and things like that. So he's going to have a real hard time winning. However, I do want him to get to the debates. He's actually only the second person. He's not a person. The second person of Asian descent. He's trying to become the second person of Asian descent to make it to a presidential debate. Bobby Jindal for the Republican Party in 2016 was the first time. So trying to do back-to-back Asian appearances. I love it. But so this was his statement that he made. He said Yang had promised clear guidelines in the digital asset world so that businesses and individuals can invest and innovate in the area without fear of regulatory shift. He argued that the current framework in the U.S. is unclear and unfair to people working with the technology, saying, if you're a builder, it's just look. Tell me what the landscape is going to look like, and we'll figure it out from there. But no one knows what the landscape will look like. And man, let me tell you, that's so true. At Consensus this week, talking to a lot of Bitcoin maximalists, hardline Bitcoin maximalists, I will tell you that is where, I know this isn't related to the story, but that is where I draw the line with the Bitcoin maximalist is look, you guys are pretending to know the future and to say that Bitcoin is going to be the only project that's going to survive, but you don't know that. I can't remember exactly who I said this to, but I said there's 18 million possible cryptocurrency conclusions, and Bitcoin only is just one of 18 million. So I don't know how many there are. That's obviously a Doctor Strange reference to Avengers Endgame and whatever the last one's called before that. Avengers, I literally can't remember what it's called. But anyway, so that's basically what Andrew Yang is saying here is we don't know what the future is going to look like, but let's embrace it. Let's try to give proper regulation. Like I said, Token Taxonomy Act is definitely on the horizon. I believe is something that we need. You look at this, Andrew Yang, the comparison between him and the weasel Brad Sherman, also known as the troll, the imp, my precious, whatever you want to call Brad Sherman. He's the antithesis to Brad Sherman, at least on this issue. I'm sure they agree on a lot of things, but it's good to know that Andrew Yang doesn't have all the credit card transaction processing companies in his back pocket like Brad Sherman does. So anyways, this is going to be really fun. I say the 2020 presidential election in the United States is going to be the most insane thing we've ever seen in politics. 2016 was unprecedented. It's going to continue. America continues to be more and more and more divided. So at least this will be one fun thing that I feel like I can watch. Hopefully makes it to debates and things like that. Something that, I will have an interest in outside of the final result. So I'm not saying vote for him, but I'm saying let's give this guy a platform. I feel like he's speaking about a lot of important issues. I want to be clear here. He's for universal basic income. Everybody in the United States, 18 to 64, getting $1,000. And I totally disagree with that. I don't think that's a good thing. I think that, economically, if everybody had an extra $1,000, that means prices will go slightly up on stuff. And, that's kind of an economic issue. But it's very important. The reasons why he's talking about universal basic income is because he believes that automation is going to take over almost all jobs. And I agree with that. I mean, you don't even need teachers, really. I mean, look, people are doing online school. You could have a concentrated amount of teachers that are doing online school with your kids and things like that. There will be jobs created to kind of supervise the AI, if you will, or supervise the robots, but it won't be enough. Like, if you have 100 trucks and 100 truck drivers and you go to fully automated trucks, you don't need one person for each of those trucks to oversee it. So, I do think that this is a real issue. I think it's very important. I actually believe in a not only fully tokenized economy in the future, but this might sound crazy, guys. I'm going to come out as a crazy person here. I actually believe that there is a decent chance that the economy of the world is based on video games in 100 years from now. Virtual reality video games, kind of like Ready Player One, except for much, much further. So thank you for allowing me to go on that rant because I do think it's important to be talking about these issues, even if I don't disagree with the solutions that some of these people have. So definitely going to be interesting to watch this upcoming election season. Number 4. Bakkt. Yay! Meme institutional investing. I love it. I hope you love it too. We now have another date for Bakkt. If you didn't remember, it was supposed to launch in November of last year. And when November started and it had not launched yet, it was supposed to start in December. I believe December 12th or the 18th, one or the other. Then it got delayed again because of the United States congressional shutdown or government shutdown. And because the people in Congress couldn't get along, long story short. But then it was supposed to be in January because in January they were going to reconvene and get things approved. The SEC couldn't look over the applications. Then they were talking about maybe March. Fidelity is supposed to be coming in March, all this stuff in March. And now the new soft launch date is in July. So almost a year delayed. And I don't think this is on accident. I do believe that the reason why this has been continually delayed is because Bakkt has been sitting back. I can't with myself sometimes. I really can't. They're going to be sitting back and waiting for the perfect time to launch, when everything is going to be, all the cards are in order, everything is going to be set, the table is set. They're going to come in and clean up. And we're talking about several reasons today why it looks like that may be happening right now as we speak. Things are lining up. We obviously got the pump, but there's other things kind of going on in the background. So, this is something that's been a long time coming. I do think this is a positive thing for crypto. Now, along with this news, which we're actually going to be talking about Bakkt again during our IOST break, but along with this news was other news that came out of consensus. So the Bakkt July soft launch was announced during consensus. There was also another big story announced. Nordstrom's and Whole Foods are also going to be taking Bitcoins. I assume it's going to be the same way that Starbucks is supposed to accept Bitcoin and Microsoft in conjunction with Bakkt in its release. And I'm not, to be honest with you guys, I'm not 100% sure exactly how the tie-in works there. Like, I don't understand. I know Starbucks and Microsoft are partnering with Bakkt, and Bakkt says you're going to be able to spend your crypto there, but Bakkt is doing a lot of stuff on the institutional investing side. So I guess maybe they just have another platform that you're going to be able to spend your crypto with. I assume maybe not just Bitcoin, but all the cryptocurrencies that they'll be listing, which once again we'll be talking about later. But basically the way those mechanisms work is that you have, I'm going to use BitPay for example. You have a BitPay card. A BitPay card, I believe, has a Visa logo on it. It is a credit card, or it's basically a crypto debit card. And so the way that you spend it is, you put it in, you type in your code, whatever, and you pull it out just like any other card. What happens after that is a little bit different. So for us, we go spend out of our bank account. It comes straight out of our bank account. It's digital money, guys. So it's kind of just a ledger, and the place processing the transaction knows that they're going to get the money from your bank, so they give the money to the to the actual place that is running the card. Well, with these, this is going to be a really long video today. I hope you guys are prepared. I've got so much to talk about. But with one of these mechanisms, which the card is an example, basically what happens is that you spend your crypto, and there's an internal mechanism that convert, almost an internal exchange inside of the transaction that converts it over to US dollars and takes your crypto and puts it in a wallet somewhere else. So yes, you're spending your crypto, but the retailer is not accepting your crypto. They're accepting the US dollar. And this, unfortunately, is not what we want if you are in the camp of believing Bitcoin is going to be currency, which I'm more in the gold camp. that I believe it's going to be more like the gold standard in hedging assets, which, spoiler alert, we're going to talk about today in a little bit. But I think that's a real problem because, retailers don't want you to buy a cup of coffee at Starbucks that's $4, and by the time they get the money, it's only worth $3.50. Because if you multiply that by, 1 million cups of coffee, which I'm sure Starbucks has to do 1 million cups of coffee a day, right? They have to. I don't know what the number is. But I'll research it and put it on the screen for you while I'm talking, because right now I have no idea. Hopefully it's 1 million. If you multiply 50 cents times 1 million, you're going to get a lot of money. I think that would probably be $50,000, I believe. Something like that. I could be wrong. Maybe it's $5,000. I think it's $50,000. But, these retailers can't take those hits in large amounts. So you may have some smaller retailers that will just accept Bitcoin because they're able to kind of control, the amount that they're taking in. Whereas a company like Starbucks, if Bitcoin had a huge drop, that would really affect their bottom line. I do think it's a little short-sighted for a company as big as Starbucks to say, we are dependent upon one daily move of Bitcoin, when they could look at the bigger picture and, that $3.50 cup of coffee could in 5 years be worth, $1,000, or something like that. So it is a little short-sighted, but that's one of the problems with spending Bitcoin as a currency. So this way, the way this mechanism works is you're converting it to US dollars, they're receiving US dollars, or probably whatever, your local currency would be. You could kind of think of the same way, but they're not accepting Bitcoin. So it's a win, but yet there's still, a long ways to go to get Bitcoin adopted as a currency. And, it's definitely very interesting we have some of these companies doing this. Now, some of these articles that announced this said that, Whole Foods and Nordstrom's will be taking Bitcoin, just don't ask the cashier about it because they won't know. Something like, to the effect of that. And the reason why that is because it's going to be through a mechanism, that may not even be the most proper word I can use, but a mechanism that's going to convert your crypto to US dollars, and then the retailer is going to receive the dollars. So, it could be done through something similar to Apple Pay where you tap the phone. But I mean, if you think about it, if you are, going somewhere that accepts Apple Pay or that accepts, credit cards and debit cards, which a lot of places do, the cashier doesn't, necessarily even think about what you're using. Like, they don't know if you use a Visa card or use a Discover card. So all it would take is a retailer, instituting a, fifth kind of card above Discover, Visa, MasterCard, and American Express to take a fifth card that would be that mechanism. Or it could be something digital through your phone, maybe through a blockchain wallet with Android, or, hopefully Apple will come out with something similar to that. So, a lot of big announcements coming out of Consensus. Very, very, very interesting stuff. And, I don't think it's coincidence all of this news was withheld. I think it definitely helped the pump. I think it was all kind of orchestrated, in a way. But, we are making progress all the way around. If we look at where we were at adoption-wise several years ago to where we are now, like, we're really gaining ground. So good things coming definitely for Bitcoin and the world of cryptocurrency. Number 3. Okay, so this story is actually from several days ago, which will be a theme here in a minute, but, from several days ago that says new altcoin season, is it coming anytime soon? And it goes to kind of talk about, the top cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin dominance, its relation to the market cap. We've talked about it several times and how it relates. If you look at the Bitcoin, if you look at the Bitcoin chart here, this is the Bitcoin dominance level, and this is the orange one is Ethereum's, basic, correlation to the Bitcoin price. It got to up as high as 0.1 or 10% of the Bitcoin price. It's got all the way down to less than 3%. It's now gaining a little more ground, but it's got quite a long ways to go. But if you look at it, it's pretty predictable. You look at the Bitcoin dominance get high, or it stayed high, it's like 80%. And then as it started to fall, these started to move up. So the green one is XRP, and this chart does not actually have a lot of these charts have one that symbolizes like every other altcoin, but for this we don't have that. So we're just gonna be looking at Ethereum and XRP here. So you look over here at this next run and you see Bitcoin dominance going up. It spikes. Look, it spikes before it falls. consistently. And that number it spikes around is around 60%. So, right here, it spiked to about 60%, and then it fell. And look what happens as it falls. Predictably, Ethereum, the orange, goes up. It follows that same track. XRP does the exact same thing. The green one here. So you can see as it spikes, XRP's dominance level or percentage of the market bottoms. And then as Bitcoin's dominance falls, XRP rises. So this is something we've seen very, very, very consistently. Now, right now, the market cap got up to about 60%. And I told you guys that that was a signal that it was going to start falling and we were going to be having altcoin season soon. Did we have altcoin season? No, I do not believe so. And I'm going to tell you exactly why I think that I would not characterize what happened is the last couple of days or a few days as altcoin season, and what I think is required for this to occur. So basically, we had some coins that had very, very, very high gains. We had some, I believe NIM had a 65% gain in one day before, dropping back down. I believe, don't hold me to that. Haven't been watching the market super, super close the last couple of days because I haven't been doing videos. But, the thing about it is we had some coins that had major pumps. Ethereum had a major pump. Litecoin had a major pump. Tron had a major pump. These percentages, I don't have them in front of me. I believe probably somewhere around 25 to 30% for a lot of those. Maybe some altcoins approaching 40%. NIM was really, really high. It might have been 80%. It was 65 or 80%. And that is just a taste. That's the foreshadowing of what is to come in this next altcoin season. It's a taste. It's a glimpse. It's the spring training of altcoin season. That's where we're at right now. We're in the spring training because those pumps are nothing compared to what we're going to see. And I can guarantee that if we don't get altcoins pumping over 200% in one night during this next, some people are calling it a 3-year bull market we may go on. I don't believe it'll be that high, but that's what some people are saying. I think probably a year and a half. But if we don't get several 100, 200% gains overnight, I'll delete my channel. Y'all screenshot that. I'm not going to put words on there. So you actually have to save this video and go back and watch it. But I'll delete my account because I know it's coming. It's coming for sure. We're going to get those really, really, really big, moves. This move we just had by altcoins was a precursor of what is to come. So, okay, what happened that stopped the altcoins from pumping? And what has to occur in order for the altcoins to start going on those huge, huge runs? You have to understand the trickle-down nature of the crypto market. So the way that things work during these parabolic moves, these huge pumps that lead to altcoin season, is you have people who are invested in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin starts running. It starts moving way, way up. Bitcoin dominance starts moving up because people start FOMOing out of coins that are staying still into Bitcoin. And that would make up for about a 6% gain in Bitcoin dominance, for instance. We were less than 51, but higher than 50%. Probably about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, I did a video where we talked about it. And we were in a level that, was getting under 50%. I was like, man, I really believe that we're going to drop. But yet, the market wasn't doing anything super, super, super significant. So what happens when Bitcoin starts moving up is people FOMO back into it, and that is what gets the Bitcoin dominance level pumping up, people coming out of altcoins and into Bitcoin. So they start making huge, huge gains. Then they start getting nervous. You go from, 4,100 all the way up to 8,200 in a period of about a month, and you get real nervous that it's going to go back down. You anticipate a consensus pump, you get it, you kind of call the top of the pump, and you start pulling out. I think people will start pulling out somewhere around $7,500 for Bitcoin, pulling out those profits. If you invested $3,000 into one Bitcoin, and it pumps up like from 3150 and it pumps all the way to 72, you've made $4,000. You've made more than you made, or you made more than you originally invested. So you're playing with house money. Technically, you could pull your money out and cash it out. But what people tend to do is they keep that money in something that's safe like Bitcoin, and they start making riskier investments. And so they start investing into things like Ethereum, like XRP, like Bitcoin Cash. And another video, I'm going to argue why I think Bitcoin Cash may be one of the biggest pumpers during the next cycle, but that video is not coming out today. Cardano, I don't necessarily, I guess I would put Tron in there. A lot of people have feelings about Tron, so I don't know, and people are scared about some regulation stuff, so I don't know if that's where a lot of the smart money it necessarily goes into when people are looking for stable choices. But you put it in the stable things. The more it's riskier than Bitcoin, it's more stable than Project 97. So what happens is they take their Bitcoin profits, put it in those. That's why Ethereum pump, Litecoin's on that list too. Litecoin, Stellar, all of these coins have huge pumps, and people take those profits out. And once they have the profits from the more solid altcoins, now they're really playing with house money. Now they've made money on their Bitcoin investment. They've made money investing into these more stable cryptocurrencies. Now they got some real gambling money. They got some real risky money. They got money that they can pull out, totally house money. If they lose it, they lose it, but they still got their investments in, let's say it was Litecoin and Bitcoin, so they still got those safe. They're playing with house money. Those projects are still going to continue to go up. They're going to make money on those, and they then start looking down coin market cap. So they start looking for coins in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, anything on the top 100, and then you get those altcoins pumping. So that's what we saw, is people starting to do that, starting to pull those profits out and put them into some of those projects outside of the top 10, 10-ish on coin market cap, and start investing in smaller things. And that's why we saw a lot of those coins start to pump. Now, not all of them. Why did not all of the coins in the top 100 get absolutely huge pumps? Well, there's only so much money to go around right now when it comes to cryptocurrency. So people, are investing in these projects, but yet at the same time, Bitcoin was also still going up. So people are choosing, projects that have the best marketing, projects that have, huge communities, a lot of presence on Twitter. But then what happened is Bitcoin started going up again. So Bitcoin went up to 8,200 from about 75-ish or wherever it was after the first, series of candles we got. And then Bitcoin started to go down. So when Bitcoin starts going down again, people start getting a little nervous. So from 75 to 82, people were like, oh, I'm going to pull out profits. I think it's topped. Then it ran again. And so Bitcoin was moving up, and I think that prevented some people from getting in. But either way, the fact is that when Bitcoin started going back down again, that is when people got nervous, and that kind of put a slash, a stop, a halt. I believe that if that wouldn't have happened, that sequentially, almost all the coins in the top 100 would have got a huge pop. Now, I do think that the Bitcoin movement was more than we could handle right now, so it's probably at a better spot right now in terms of being stable. I don't think it's going to drop much below this. I don't think we'll ever see the fives again. That's a statement I'm going to make. It may happen, but if we do, it's going to be like 58, 59. I do not think we will ever see the fives again. Several weeks ago, I told you we will never see the threes again. I think I did a tweet that we'd never see the fours again, a little bit after we went up to 5. I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up in my own brain. Maybe that's in the multiverse. But for sure, I said, I have a bet with Crypto Stash, don't let him back out on me, that Bitcoin will go to 10,000 before it goes back into the 3, so below 4,000. And he's going to owe me 10,000 IOST, which who knows, that could be worth like $1 zillion, here in a couple weeks when we hit 10,000. I don't know if it'll happen in a couple weeks, but I do think it is possible we have a stagnation. We've gone almost, not parabolic's probably too strong, but we definitely went up. And I believe now we may see some gradual movement before we get some more of those giant green candles, but they will be coming. So when altcoin season comes, once again, you guys just remember that, it's very, very, very dangerous out there. So, remembering 2017, and this article just brings up like BitConnect, like MCAP, Faircoin. There were a lot of scams, a lot of scammy ICOs. You guys are going to have to be careful. And I think that all of these scams in Ponzi schemes during the last bull market, I think they're going to help us in this next one. That's why I do believe that we will have huge altcoin seasons like we've never seen before. The institutional presence and investing in this is what is going to carry all of these coins, or all of the good projects, or the ones without products also, because if you don't have a product, nobody can nitpick it. I'm looking at you, Cardano. But, I think we're going to see projects in the top 100, 200, maybe even 500 pump really high, but I don't think we're going to see a lot of those micro caps doing what was happening before in the 2017 bull run, where projects were going from 1 Satoshi to, 16 overnight, or, very small amount to a decent amount where you can make huge returns on. That's a 16x gain overnight. So, I do think my recommendation to people that are new, that are watching the channel, I know there's some new people that interest is back and things like that. My advice to you is to be very careful what you're investing in. And of course, not financial advice, but now I'm going to give you a string of words together that indicate what I would do financially. What I would be doing is I would be looking in the top 50. That's my number. Top 50. Unless IOST drops to 51, then I'd be looking at the top 51. I do believe the top 50 is where most of the money during this next run is going to be made. I think the top 10 is also, obviously it's the top 10. I think it's going to really do well. There's not a lot of projects in my mind in the top 10 that are probably they will change, they will fall out, because we will see projects that are very, very, very good and have a lot of, marketing, whatever, it will be boosting up into the top 10. It may not necessarily be projects dropping out of the top 10, if that makes sense. Like if there's a really good football team in college football and they're ranked number 10 and they win a game, but there's another team and they win a game and that game's more impressive, like they beat the number 1 team, then they're going to move up higher and they might drop the number 10 team out of the top 10 rankings, but it doesn't mean the top 10 team did anything wrong. So I think it's similar with this. We're going to see good projects rising up and doing so well and may move into the top 10, but I think almost everything in the top 10, I would have to look at it. How smart am I? I can look at it right now. EOS has some centralization problems. Obviously, Tether is not going to be in there. You can really count Tron as top 10, even though it's number 11, because Tether doesn't really count. But outside of EOS, maybe, it's going to be hard for me to see any of these other, 9 projects not doing well. And EOS people will kill me for that. I'm not a fan of EOS personally. So I don't know. Maybe it'll do great. I don't know. I feel like EOS is more of a long-term play for people than a short-term. I'm not sure you're going to necessarily get a lot of huge gains on EOS in the near term. But if you believe in what they're doing over the long term, then 2 years from now, when we get to the end of this next bull run, it might be different. But I think at least first, when the altcoins start moving up, that could be one that could drop. But they have so much money. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking. I don't even know what I'm saying. Maybe I'm 100% wrong. But that is kind of what I see happening. If you watch Beards and Bitcoins, which I'm going to post on my channel, I think tomorrow, something Jay Chains and I talk about, which is, a lot of those micro caps were pumping during the last altcoin run because Binance and Bittrex were closed. Those were the 2 big exchanges a lot of people were using, and they closed new registrations, causing people to go to sketchier exchanges such as Cryptopia and find those smaller micro caps on there, because people were just investing in 3 letters. They had no idea what they're investing in. All they were investing is, man, this thing is really low and it had a red day. Surely this thing's going to go to $1 million tomorrow. So I don't think we're going to see that. The exchanges should be ready this time for the kind of volume they're going to see. And we have a lot more options, and a lot of your more advanced traders or advanced crypto people have moved to decentralized exchanges like, Ethics Market that I reviewed the other day. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview. I thought it was very interesting listening to what they're doing with the DEX. But, we're going to see more people trading on those that are experienced, and that's going to make room for the newer people, to come in and use Binance, because that's what they're going to use, or maybe some of the other popular exchanges, Huobi, and things like that. So I know that was a lot. That was so much on altcoin season. But these are things, my wheels have been turning for like 5 days now, and I got another huge video for you guys. I may do it tomorrow. I may do it Monday. It's either tomorrow or Monday I'm going to do it. It's going to be a huge video that's going to be, a huge debate that's going on in the space right now. So you guys make sure to watch out for that. But my wheels have been turning. I've been thinking a lot about crypto, had a lot of incredible crypto conversations with people, and very excited about what's happening. So, definitely wanted to touch on, the altcoin pump that we had. Was that altcoin season? What is altcoin season? What can you expect to see in things like that? So I hope you enjoyed that. Number 2. Okay, Bitcoin search volume interest ballooned higher than the number of times Donald Trump is Googled. Googled? I never even met her. So I don't know how many times Donald Trump has been Googled in his life, but it's probably a lot. He's got a lot of money. So anyways, if you watch this channel in the past, I love to talk about search volume. I would rather talk about search volume on Google and Google Trends than I would talk about crypto markets, the crypto market volume, So, obviously your traders are going to be way gung-ho, the volume is important, yada, yada, yada. That's your TA people, your technical analysis people. And I'm actually considering doing a weekly TA show where I bring on a guest. So if you guys want that, drop me a comment below and let me know. But I'm not a TA guy. I'm a fundamental analysis guy. I like to look at the current events, the historical trends off of the chart, the price in general more than the price on a 4-hour candle. And, I like to take that and kind of know my experience with crypto and use that to project the future of crypto. It works pretty good, I feel like. You guys know I called the bottom. In January, I said December was the bottom. Like I talked about a second ago, I said that we'll never see the threes again. I definitely believe that's 100% true. There's no way we're going to see the threes again, guys. No way. I called the Ethereum pump a couple weeks ago. How did I call that Ethereum pump? Well, because I read an article. I read an article where people were talking about the fundamentals behind Ethereum and things that have happened in the past. There was some TA stuff mixed in. There was definitely some TA lingo in there. However, I'm actually looking at that as a news story instead of looking at the chart directly and making those judgments. So, for me, I still consider that fundamental analysis. I don't do TA. I may do a video or a story that involves TA, but I don't do it myself. So, the fundamental things with crypto, with Bitcoin, are so important in my mind. And, nothing is a better indicator of interest than Google searches. You will find when the Google searches start going up, the subreddit numbers start going up, my Twitter followers start going up, my Instagram followers have already started going up. I haven't started TikTok yet. I have an account, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to start the first and only crypto TikTok account. So you guys, you can find me on there, BitBoy Crypto. Be on the lookout. I think I've figured out a way to do TikTok and make it interesting for crypto. So anyways, you should check that out. It's going to be a blast, I think. So, I think that the account numbers all start going up. YouTube views start going up. I've already seen an uptick recently on the channel and the subscribers that we're getting here. The watch time is also going up per video. A lot of things are improving, and that's not because people just discovered my channel like it didn't exist before. It's because it's new people, it's new interest coming into the space, and that Google search is a huge indicator. Then we have personal anecdotes that are also huge indicators, like your grandma ain't talked to you about Bitcoin since 2017, and she just asked, hey son, where's that $100 that I gave you and you put in that Tron all them months ago? What's it doing now? How much money do I have? Because it's it's on it's on CNBC or it's on another channel. People are talking about it. Your family will start asking you. Friends will start asking you. People who you haven't talked to in a long time will start reaching back out. New Twitter accounts that are basically people that were here and then they disappeared and they're coming back into crypto because things are starting to look up. That's another indicator of interest. But it all boils down to this. When there's no interest in cryptocurrency, when there's no interest in Bitcoin, like there has not been, leading up to last month, if you don't take the last month into consideration, we're talking about 15 months maybe, somewhere around there, where the interest has just gone to blah. It took a couple of months for it to really decline. And one interesting thing is when Bitcoin crashes, it's actually very high because people are like finding articles to show their friends who are, people who hate Bitcoin and say, see, told you it wasn't going to work. Look at this article. So it works on the downside as well. But specifically, I would say since June of last year to the end of March this year, there was no interest. There would be little bitty signs that people were getting interested again. So it's basically the same people over and over again, watching the videos, talking on Twitter with each other, the same people buying, trading, investing. It's the same people. That's why the prospects of institutional investing, while a lot of people disagree fundamentally with institutional investing coming into crypto and taking it over, they are going to come into space. But that's one thing that's so beneficial about that is because it's bringing interest in. When that money starts making those big green candles, that in turn leads to the general public to be interested again. So there's a lot of things going on with interest right now. And that to me is so exciting. I'm so excited for not just the financial rewards of me doing this channel and being in cryptocurrency. Like, the projects that I hold, my bags, my portfolio going way, way, way up. Like, that's great. I can't wait for that. Yeah, that's awesome. But I'm also very, 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 interested in the interest returning. The bull run of social media where you'll get 500 Twitter followers overnight, or you get, instead of 1,500 views a video, you're getting 5,000, 6,000, you're getting, 2,000 subs a week, some channels were doing. It's just gonna be very interesting to watch that, considering I'm one of the few YouTubers, very, 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 very few, who built my entire channel in the bear market. I did not start it until after we were already in the bear market. And, my passion for crypto is why I was able to stay in this content creation, corner and continue creating even though things were not promising and the interest was not here. So I'm really looking forward to, being able to make videos and have, more than just the Bit Squad, new Bit Squad members coming in, more than just the same, probably 500 people that regularly watch my channel. There may be a few more than that, but there's probably about 500 people that probably about every day, watch my videos. I think my numbers probably reflect that, somewhere around there. So, big shout out to all of you for sticking through as well. Posted a little message as my pinned message in my Bit Squad Telegram group about that the other day. Very appreciative to all of you. Also, all contest winners were paid out. That was involved in that as well. So, definitely interest coming back is something we've got to watch, something that's going to be super, super, super interesting. No pun intended, and can't wait to see it take off.
It's time for an IOST break.
Okay, guys, so we have another Bakkt story, and you may be wondering, what does this have to do with IOST? And there's moments in my life where I reflect and say, how in the world did I miss this? How did I miss this? I have no idea how I missed this story. I don't know what I was doing on March 19th. No one shared this story with me. I didn't see anybody posting it, and I just completely missed it. So basically, ICE, the parent of Bakkt, which, if you don't know ICE, they also own the NYSE, New York Stock Exchange, that's why it's so big, in terms of importance. They announced there were 58 cryptocurrencies that they were gonna list. This list is very interesting. I will tell you that. There are a lot of interesting choices. Now, when you have a company like Bakkt saying that they're gonna list 58 specific cryptocurrencies. Now, there still could be some regulatory stuff. Like we just saw Poloniex delisted 7 different projects, including Decred and Augur, which I was really surprised about. The other ones I wasn't. I don't have the list right here. But we're moving towards this regulatory environment, so there may be a possibility that some of these get delayed, that maybe they can't get some of these, or maybe they do some other ones. I think, honestly, they would just dwindle down the list. But, I was looking at this list of cryptocurrencies, and look, right here we go, IOST. Now, you guys may know this. If you're in the IOST community, maybe you know it. I did not. I missed this. So, you guys sometimes have to educate me, what was his name? my boy Wesley Schumacher, one of our contest winners, he schooled me pretty bad in an email the other day. So yeah, definitely it's cool, to learn things from the community as well. This is not just that's why we have the Telegram group. This is not only just for me to educate, but it's edutainment, so edumatainment. I don't know. You guys let me know what you want to call that. But, it's not just my duty to do that, but also I like it when in the conversations, like in the Telegram group, you guys give me information or you tell me things that you've learned. And so, I'm really surprised that this did not come across my eyes until I believe it was Daniel in our Telegram group actually shared this week. And so I started looking at it, and there is IOST. Now, there's definitely some interesting choices here. There's one glaring admission here that, I'm pretty, or sometimes I say words and they're wrong. Omission, excuse me. Someone will comment on that in the comments and say, you said the wrong word, it's omission. But anyways, we don't get a lot of hate on the channel. But the point is, Binance Coin was actually left off of this list, and the speculation would be the reason for this is because Bakkt would see Binance as a competitor, so to speak, because Huobi token is on there and Binance token or Binance Coin is not. So definitely, I've said that these 58 cryptos would be the ones I would move to the top of my list to look at, but that doesn't mean it's fully exhaustive. Binance Coin, it's not on there, but in my opinion, it's a really, really, really good buy. Maybe the best in all of crypto. It aims to basically be the Google of the crypto ecosystem. We have Elf, Ardor, Augur, Cardano, which both delisted on Poloniex, so those may get cut off the list. We have basic attention token, Bitcoin Cash, but all the Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Gold, BitShares, Bytem, CyberMiles, an interesting choice. Basically a frequent flyer mile crypto project. Also partnered with the Dallas Mavericks, I believe, in some way. So they do have some legitimate stuff. Crypto.com, Dash, Decentraland, which is so interesting. I need to do a video on that very soon. Digibyte, Dogecoin, Elastos, EOS, Ether, Ethereum Classic, which I was surprised about. Gas, which is basically the token that runs, is a utility token that runs the Neo network. And I was surprised that also was delisted. And I'm a little surprised that it's on this list. Gemini Dollar, a lot of stable coins, Huobi token, but Binance Coin left off of the list. Icon, Kyber Network, Litecoin, Lisk, which was also delisted, which I was totally surprised about with Poloniex. Metaverse, IOTA, that's actually IOTA. The ticker is MyOTA. There's a reason for that. It'll change over time. I'll let you guys look into it. Mithril, Monero, Nebulous, NIM, Neo, Odyssey, Omise Go, Ontology, Paxos, Qtum, Ripple, Siacoin, Status, Steam Dollar, Stellar, 10x, which I was very interested to see that one on there because that project's had a lot of failures, but I definitely think it's got potential. Theta token, good to see them there. Tether, Tron, TrueUSD, USD Coin, VeChain, Verge, Walton Chain, Zcash, Zilliqa, and ZRX. So a lot of interesting choices here. In my mind, we have a lot of these that were recently delisted on Poloniex. But the big news is IOST made it. That's so huge, guys, in my opinion. And why? Well, I'll tell you. I have my eye on all 58 of these cryptocurrencies because if you think that Bakkt is not going to list these on its internal exchange, which is for institutional investors, I will say that again. If you think they're going to list them without having a boatload of them, a butt ton of them, however you want to say it, you're wrong. And they can almost single-handedly pump these coins, really. It doesn't take a lot to move the markets, which we're going to look at here in the number one story. But, the fact is a lot of these projects are going to pump. They're going to do very well. This is a huge, great sign for these. I'm sorry for reporting this late, but it was so big that I almost, made a video before I left, but I was going to miss my flight. Like, when I found this out and read this, I was like, man, how did I miss this? Huge news for the IOST community. Obviously, all these other communities, huge news for you guys as well. But specifically for IOST, it's great to see. This is one of those things that helps, legitimize you as a project. When you have a company like Bakkt that says, okay, we're going to cut it to 58. And when this came out, I believe, let's see, I don't know if I can tell their position on that day on CoinMarketCap. I probably could if I did some research, but I believe they were lower than 58. So that means that they've jumped projects that were in front of them. They may have been right around 58, but they were really close to that cutoff point. And the fact that they made it, I feel like legitimizes IOST in, one respect. I mean, we don't, as those of us that believe in IOST, and I can assure you, I am an IOST evangelist. I talk about IOST at consensus to every person who would listen. So if you're in the community and you're voting for my node, which I'm going to be upgrading to a serving node within the next week for sure, so I will be block producing pretty soon. But if you are taking your IOST and you're freezing it and voting for my node, you know that you are voting for someone that believes in this project 100%. And I'm telling every person that will listen about it. So definitely trying on the behalf of the community to get the word out about IOST. And, so that's part of, why I felt like this story was so important. I told a lot of people consensus about this. A lot of people consensus had not seen this list, which was so crazy. I don't know how this story got underreported. But anyways, like I said, IOST on the list, a lot of projects on the list. So, definitely good to see. The number one crypto story of the day. Okay, so the number one story of the day, Bitcoin price dropped 20%. Here's what happened. Now, we're going to be focusing on two things here. We're going to be focusing on why. Is there a specific why? It's hard to really pinpoint, but it seems like in this instance, we could actually have a legit reason why it crashed other than just it went up, too fast, too high, too fast. And we're also going to be talking about, the volatility of Bitcoin and whether or not it's a good hedge against things like traditional markets and what we got to do to get it there. So this article says, and I seem to believe that this is true, the most obvious reason for the flash crash was triggered by a mammoth-sized sell order of 3,645 Bitcoins that was executed on Bitstamp at around 10 p.m. And that essentially explains why there was such a huge price spread between Bitstamp and other exchanges. It got down to as low as 6,300. $250 million worth of longs on BitMEX were liquidated after the price plummeted as a major slap in the face for bulls. So we seem to have a reason for why this occurred. Now, let's look at this, the volatility problem. Is hedging with Bitcoin against traditional markets, let's say in the case of a Chinese trade war, America-China trade war, some people are saying no. Alex Kruger was on Twitter. He said, we can now put aside the nonsensical narrative of Bitcoin as a hedge for US-China trade wars. The move up was engineered by a handful of parties, and so was this crash. Not as sexy, I know. Well, I would say this, that the Bitcoin price movement upwards over the last, 6 weeks or so, which I maybe gave my time a little bit wrong. I'm just estimating 6 weeks or so. A lot of it felt organic. On a chart, it looks organic. We did hit some pumps over the last couple of days that did not look organic, reminiscent of the BART, chart patterns that people have got so accustomed to seeing in the bear market. But the question is it a good, hedge of assets? Well, in the short term, I would say, no, because we don't know for sure that we're about to go way, way, way up. I would say that in the future, it will be a much better asset than probably anything. I think it'll be the top asset in the world. It will be, it will take the place of gold, in my opinion. That is what I believe. Have evidence to back that up, but we don't know, exactly what the future is going to look like. So, when it comes to this kind of thinking, this is why a lot of the ETFs, a lot of the regulatory stuff is so slow, why it hasn't gotten approved because of manipulation. That was the number one reason the SEC gave. They want to know when an ETF comes in that it's not going to be manipulated. And we have these giant candles. Somebody, closes one short or sells on Bitstamp, and now all of a sudden we have a huge, huge, huge price drop. And that doesn't make people feel comfortable. If you'd bought it 84,000, you bought a $1 million worth of Bitcoin, in like 1 second, you would have lost $250,000. However, how are we ever going to get to a place where we are able to see stability? how are we ever going to get there without people investing? We're not. So to get to a place where it's as stable as other kinds of assets and other kinds of markets, we have to have more money coming in. The institutional money in that respect is going to help greatly, because if the market cap was, $10 trillion, which I believe it'll exceed that in the next 10 years, if it's $10 trillion, it's hard, I would say, not impossible. Some people have enough money, but it would be very difficult to have enough money to really shake that, that kind of market in a $10 trillion marketplace. With the market cap being around $200 billion, it only takes like $1 million. It only takes $1 million, which I know is a lot of money to your average person, but to people that are the market makers and the whales, that's peanuts. It only takes $1 million to really drastically move almost every single coin on CoinMarketCap. If somebody, bought $1 million worth of, I'll just say IOST today, it would drastically affect the price, because the actual market cap itself, it's not really that literal amount of dollars. The actual literal amount of dollars, because you have to factor in people taking long positions and short positions and leverage trading and things like that, that goes into calculating the total number of the market cap. But the actual dollars involved in a project is actually much lower. So if the market cap is, $500 million, it could be as low as actually, 100 or, 50 million. If let's say the market cap is 500 million, then it would only take, $1 million to move that, because it might just be, 50 million literal dollars inside of that coin. The way CoinMarketCap, calculates, the overall market cap, a lot of people would say is actually, quite flawed, because it gives people a false, a false sense of safety with how much money is in a project when that many dollars are not literally involved in the project. So, for those reasons, it is right now not the safest thing. That's why we always say, we say Bitcoin is the safest, which I agree with. I'm a Bitcoin mostmalist. That's what Preki says, I think. I believe it's going to be number one forever. I think it's the top, it's the godfather, everything, but I think altcoins are also going to do well. But when it comes to these smaller projects, they don't have nearly the same kind of market cap, and that's why we'll tell you that Bitcoin is safer than other altcoins. However, if you compare, Bitcoin in the short term to several other ways you can hedge your money, it's not the safest decision. It's why we say don't risk more than you can lose, because crypto at this point is still a gamble in a lot of ways, even for those of us that believe in it 100%. So when you take all those things into consideration, in the short term, it's not as safe. However, I believe one day we will look at Bitcoin as actually even safer than gold, because of the limited and known supply. Whereas gold, they find new caches of gold everywhere all the time. We've talked about possible space mining in the future and things like that could bring down the price of gold. With Bitcoin, that's not true. So I feel like one day it will be even safer, but we're not there yet. So I do have to agree, it is a shame that it just takes a few players to move the markets, but hopefully after this next bull run, we'll start making a dent into the overall market cap. Maybe we can get up to $3-4 trillion. I definitely believe we'll exceed $1 trillion easily on this next run, however long it lasts. And when I say next run, I mean the extended bull market, months, years, whatever it might be. We'll finally get to a place where it will be a safer hedge of money, where it doesn't take one or two big whales to move a market completely. So that is what is going on with Bitcoin. That's why I'm not worried. That's all my thoughts. This is the longest video that I ever made in my entire life, but I had so much I wanted to talk to you guys about. So you got the worth of 5 videos in one day. You can't beat that, but I won't be doing that again, because when I have to edit this video in just a minute, it's going to take me 900 years to watch my video, and I'm not sure I like that. So, all right, guys, don't forget to enter our contest, like, comment, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. BitBoys out. We will talk to you later. That's not my signature line. I need to say that again. We will talk to you later. BitBoy out.